Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Agency, where we talk about the latest topics and concerns of independent agents. I'm your host, Daniel Ochoa, and once again, I brought back with me Mark Hilton. Glad to have you back, Mark.
Thank you very much for having me.
Mark, in the independent insurance industry, there's a lot of agents that take a lot of payments in their office, and they manage checks, cash, money orders, credit cards, all that stuff. And a lot of agents don't know how to handle that and how to close out the day at the end of the day. I'm surprised when I get agents that call me. They'll call me up wanting to know, how do I handle a check that's made out to the insurance company? Or how do I handle when I process a payment that's made with a credit card, but using the customer's credit card at the insurance company's website?
Yeah.
So I'm really surprised till this day, agents have been using our software for, 2-3 years, still are putting incorrect information into the management system, and then at the end of the day, when they try to close out the day, things don't match up and they don't add up correctly. Do you find that?
Yeah, a lot of times, a lot of these errors and issues that occur during the agency's closing process is because a lot of times there's not an adhered level of structure in which how people process or the process in which they need to adhere to actually get a proper closeout for the rest of the day. So everything does tie in, especially for the owner's reports and the manager's reports who have to finish closing off the day. Once everybody else closes off their front end stuff, which is the stores, your field reps, and once they close all their books out, and then the managers get that and begin to do this. But absolutely, they need to have a procedures and a structure in which they adhere to help out.
Yeah. Well, first thing I want to cover is payments, when you process a payment, because there's some misunderstanding about that. Every once in a while it does happen. Insured comes into your office, hands you a check, but the check's already made out to the insurance company. And you tell the agent, or not the agent, you tell the insured that they need to mail that to the insurance company. Well, they may be on their way home or they're running out of town and they said, look, I need to drop this off. Can you mail it for me? Well, they don't know how to process that in Agency Matrix. And some agents, they don't even enter it into the management system. The problem with that is if the insurance company never gets that payment and that insured gets canceled, he's going to be pretty upset because he went into your office, made the payment, and you have no record that that payment was ever taken. So one of the things I want to clarify is how do you handle a payment that comes in? It's a check already made out to the insurance company. Well, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to process the payment just like you would cash. But instead of picking cash as your transaction type, you're going to pick forward. Forward means that at the end of the day, we have a report. If I go into my reports here, you'll notice under accounting, I have a report called forward. When I run this report, it's going to list any checks I collected that need to be mailed off to the carrier. By doing this, by marking it as forward, at the end of the day, my closeout is not going to show those transactions as my deposit. Mark, can you think of anything else that I'm leaving out?
Yeah, another very important thing by using this as a tracking system is that you have something that you can use as a verification showing that the money was received and was sent out. So if by chance the policy cancels before they receive that check or forward out, the carriers will normally honor that based off the post-dated time frame. So if you can show that the money was received in transition between a certain time frames, they will honor that and they'll actually roll back the coverages to show no lapses. So it's a good way to keep track of some things that normally would slip through the cracks and cause problems for your clients and or your agency.
Yeah, that's a good point, Mark. And it's the same thing with electronic payments. We also have a transaction type called electronic payment. That's where someone comes in and you're going to use their credit card or their check account number and routing number on their check, and you're going to make the payment at the company website. Okay? By using their credit card or their checks, once again, there is no cash in your office at the end of the day. By picking electronic payment, the system records the payment, but it doesn't show up as money in your office at the end of the day. And like Mark was saying, you want to be able to prove that that payment was taken because you may post a payment at the company website, and for some reason, that company had,
Went down.
Yeah, there was a glitch right when you were taking that payment.
And that's happened before.
And they have no record that a payment was ever taken. The policy gets canceled. And so now you have proof that on a certain date, at a certain time, so-and-so in your office did take a payment, and it was an electronic payment, meaning you took the credit card or the checking account information and you posted it on the company website.
Absolutely. And the chime in more on that is that every agency who's been around for a while has experienced where the carriers have done things and made mistakes on their half where things slip through on the cracks on their sides, but they always try to roll it back to the agency. And so as long as you're able to prove your fax confirmations, receipts, and other stuff, they will have no choice but to reverse themselves. So there's a lot of times where the agency has to use materials to prove that they've done their job and that on the carrier's side the mistake had occurred. So this way, it's another way and a tool to use to help verify your agency.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of payments, I want to bring up something, Mark, because a lot of times I get agents that call me and I don't know what they're talking about. They're having an issue with the software and, they're just doing something wrong. And I do a go-to meeting. I'm looking at their computer and they're showing me a payment and there's nothing at the bottom of the receipt. And I cannot believe how many agents do not use that feature that we have to put advertisement on the bottom of a receipt. And do you find that?
You're actually on dot. There's so many people that don't utilize the tools which are given to them to help promote their products, their services, their company out to the mass population. And you're right. Using this will help your company out a great deal.
Not only will it help your company out, think about this. Okay, that advertisement is a place for you to advertise additional products that you sell that your customer may not be aware of. Homeowners insurance, flood insurance, discounts on tax returns if you do taxes in your office. I do have a lot of agents that use that and they change it up all the time. And you can put different ads for different locations. But think about this. If you sold one extra product a month, because now you're putting advertisement on the bottom of your receipt, it pays for the system that you're using.
Absolutely. The way the Sonos, you can make themes such as holidays, Christmas, New Year's, informing them to make payments. You can even come up with your own themes that you can apply within the system. Our system is fully capable where you can put in your own pictures. You can take a snapshot of all your family, all the kids, your dogs, your house, your family, and then put it on there and cap title it saying protecting what matters most. And you can have all different types of themes that helps promote your products, your services. If you're expanding your portfolio, say starting next year, you want to start doing taxes to help round out your business portfolio. But a lot of your pre-existing clients don't know about this new service you're offering, or maybe this new rate and product that now you have accessibility to that can actually beat or better your clients' current policy rates, what they got going. Well, you can now broadcast this, and ultimately, even they might not respond right away, but they know people who will meet these certain criteria, and you won't believe how many people respond, and they'll see that receipt and they'll say, oh, by the way, I see that you guys do renter's insurance. Well, my son is about to move out. How much would it be? This is what you're trying to do. So this way you can promote your services. And so it's a very strategic tool, and it's very low cost effective because it's already on your receipt in which you have already generated. So this way, when you pass out this paperwork in which you spent money on, now it's helping it pay for itself by advertising your products.
Mm-hmm. And in case you're not aware, we do have receipt ads that you can download from our website. If you want to just put a thank you, we have one that talks about flood insurance, one that talks about homeowners insurance. We even have holiday ones, a Christmas, Thanksgiving. So just before the holidays, if you want to put a thank you with a fall picture or a Christmas, have a Merry Christmas, you can download those free from our website.
And yes, it's free.
And here's another thing I want to tell everybody of a no-no that a lot of agents do, Mark, because I see this all the time. When an insured comes in, they process the payment, they go to the company website, they post the payment, they print out the receipt from the insurance company website, and they hand it to the customer.
That's ludicrous. You're passing out. You can do it this way. Don't get me wrong. You can do it this way, but you got to remember a lot of these carriers are competing against you for those clients by TV advertisements. They do motorcycles too, and they broadcast the boats, other things. But yet you want the client to come through you so you can make money. So why pass out your competitor even though you're writing with them? Advertisement for your client to phase you out and call them directly to set up their things. like that. When you can print off your own receipt with your own advertisements that's constantly promoting you and your services, you might offer that through another carrier or so. So you want this client to constantly come back to your agency because this one other carrier might pay you more commissions than this one would, even though they will honor that client's transaction to your agency. But why, when I can write the same policy, get the same quality services, and make more money? So I want the client to come back to me.
Yeah, basically the bottom line is you need to be advertising your agency at all times, as much as possible. So every receipt that gets printed that's handed to a customer should be from your agency, and it should have your name and logo on it. And I don't mean to get off topic, Mark, but there's still a lot of agents out there that don't even have websites.
It's staggering. We're in the 2000s and the 14s and going past. And you're right. Is a number one form when you're on that cell phone, iPads. Everybody is online.
Mm-hmm. My wife and I were out shopping a few weeks ago. It was Black Friday, and as you all know how hectic it gets. We were at a couple of stores doing some shopping and looking at some prices, trying to find the best deal. And my wife uses her phone. She pulls it out. She gets on Amazon. She made 3 orders on her phone while we're out shopping through Amazon, saving money from prices that we saw at the retail stores. And I thought to myself, how many people use their phone to do shopping online? And don't kid yourself. They're going to your website with their cell phone, checking you out, and to check out to see what kind of agency you are before they buy from you. I mean, would you agree, Mark?
Absolutely. One of the biggest advantageousness having a website, which Agency Matrix offers, is the accessibility that your clients can have to go in there to request for quotes, make payments through your carriers, be able to have access to the things that they need to do when you're after hours, when you're closed. And so we are now offering these wonderful package rates right now that's going to end till about December, and by next year I believe the rates are going to be going up. So now's a good time to get this type of exposure that you can use to have access through phones, iPads, or anywhere through the internet.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, I know we got off topic there. I apologize. Let's get back to the closing out your end-of-day procedures. We have in Agency Matrix a tab called EOD, which stands for End of Day. That tab is for every employee in your office to click on and use at the end of the day. So when they click on this End of Day tab, it's going to show a list of all their transactions. It's going to separate cash, checks, money orders, credit cards, and it's going to show what they're responsible for at the end of the day for the part of the deposit. So at the end of the day, when they click on this, they can print this off, turn it into the office manager who's going to make the deposit with the correct amount of money that they're supposed to have. Now, for some reason, if that employee comes up short, we have end-of-day details that they can close on. When they click on this, it's going to show every customer that they had a transaction with. That way, for some reason, if they're missing, let's say, a check or $100 or a payment that they took from an insured, they'll be able to right away quickly identify which customer it is that they're missing that payment from. Anything I'm leaving out, Mark?
No, you covered right there.
Okay. The other thing is that, at the end of the day, or while you're taking transactions, and I know you had this problem when you were working in an agency, you got robbed when you had too much cash on hand. Okay,
Absolutely.
That's a big problem. Agents are afraid. What do I do in the middle of the day when I have too much cash in hand? If I take the money from all my employees, how do I record that? Well, if you go into your employee's end of day, let's say that you're going to an employee and he's taken 20, 30 payments, he's got a lot of cash on hand, you want to take 80% of that to the bank. If you go into his end of day tab, there's a tab right here that says end of day expense item. Okay, when you click on that, you can enter an expense item. That's going to deduct it from his end of day. So you can put in there, it's going to ask you to put in a reason for the expense, and you're going to put in early deposit. Okay, so you'll put in early deposit, you're going to put in the amount, let's say it's $800, and you're going to submit it. Now when that employee closes his day out with the end of day tab, it's going to deduct that $800. So when he turns it in to the office manager, the correct amount of money that he has on hand will match the form, even if you took an early deposit. So I highly recommend that you use that. What's great about this is every employee can see all their transactions at any given time throughout the day, but without being able to see what the other employees are doing. Because Mark, in Houston, that was a big problem years ago when I was an independent agent. Agents, big offices that had 5 or 6 employees, if they noticed they'd taken a lot of payments and, they saw how much cash other employees had, they would call their friend who would come in and rob the place, and then they would split the money. I mean, it was happening in Houston when I used to work there. And, it's a shame, but things like that happen, and a lot of owners do not want employees to know what other employees have. I mean, do you agree?
Absolutely. You always want to try to protect your interests as much as possible, and try not to create an environment where something like this can occur.
Yeah. Okay, the next thing is, if I go into my reports, I have a report that's called bank deposit, okay? In my bank deposit report, that's going to give me what my deposit is at the end of the day for all my employees combined. And once again, it's going to list your checks, cash, credit cards, money orders. Now, we do have an option to print a bank deposit slip, but I want to make it clear that when you print this bank deposit slip, the bank does not accept that as a regular bank deposit slip. However, they will accept it as a list of all your checks. So instead of on your back of your bank deposit slip, you list all the checks that you've collected. On the back, you just write "see attachment," and then you attach that, because that bank deposit slip that we print out is going to show a list of all the checks and money orders with a total. So you can just add it with the bank deposit slip and make your deposit. Now, we also have something else under bank deposit called deposit posting. This is for people that have multiple locations. Okay, when your office at the end of the day clicks on deposit post, and it's going to show the office they're in, they're going to click on next. Then it's going to show all the transactions that office has handled for the day. What's great about this, and this has happened to me before, let's say that a customer comes in your office and hands you a check, but tells you not to deposit it until the 15th, or to the 20th, whatever day it is, and it's only the 10th. But the reason for that is they're going out of the country. They're going to be gone for 4 to 5 weeks, and they get direct deposit from their work, and they want to make sure that you do not deposit it until they are sure that the money is in the bank. So how do you handle that? Well, the deposit posting will allow you to handle that, because now the agent who's closing the office at a location can uncheck a specific transaction. They have to put a reason in the comment box on why they're unchecking that. So they can put in there that they unchecked it and explain why they did it. They can make sure that everything matches up. It's going to show all their transactions. It shows all their credit card payment. And at the bottom, it shows the deposit amount. Now, when they uncheck an amount, you'll notice that the amount of the deposit changes. Then they're going to post that deposit. Okay, so all your locations are going to do this. Then they're going to go and make their deposit. At the next morning, when you come into your main office, whoever handles all your bank deposits will come in, and they're going to go to under account of what's called bank verification. The bank verification is going to list all your locations with the deposits that were made for the night before. That way you can check with your bank as you're clearing these. You're going to go to your bank website, and you're going to make sure that the amounts match. Once you see that they match, you just click on it, you put in the date, and then you update it. And then that will update all your offices showing that the amounts match. If something doesn't match, that gives you the opportunity to call that office and figure out what happened. The next day, though, however, if an office unchecked a payment for any reason, somebody was going out of the country, or even a dealership business, a lot of agents do dealership business, but they don't collect the money till the next day. When they do their deposit posting the next day, that transaction is going to show up again. So there's no way for them to get rid of that transaction. It's going to keep showing up until they clear it. So it's a great tool to use for people who have multiple locations. I recommend this. We have a lot of agents that use it. It's a great tool. Mark, can you think of anything that I left out?
No, it looks like you have it all covered. I'd like to just emphasize and stress on we provide you the tools to help you have the checks and balances that is required to help you speed up your closing process to make sure all your money, your deposits, everything lines up from all your sweeps, the money that's accrued in from each agent from each location. And so it's very important that you get your staff and your people to set up a set of principles in which they would actually stick to, and then it'll be a steady pattern in which they would do it, and they would use the tools properly, and this will help you keep all your accountings correct.
Well, that about wraps it up, Mark. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And once again, now's the time. If you need to get a website, now's the time to get it. We have a great offer starting January 2015. Prices are going to go up on the website. So if you get it now, you'll be grandfathered in. That's about it. Thank you once again, and have a Merry Christmas. Until next time, have a wonderful and blessed day.
Merry Christmas.